Bonjour et bienvenue sur le All Gaming Show. Aujourd'hui, nous en sommes au sixième épisode de Little Orpheus. Et nous allons voir aujourd'hui ce qui se passe dans ce sixième épisode. Alors, je suis sûr que certains ont des attentes précises pour savoir combien il reste d'épisodes. Donc, comme vous le voyez, il y en a 9. Je préférerais vous le montrer, 6, 7, 8, 9. Voilà. Donc, il nous reste encore 3 épisodes à faire au niveau de Little Orpheus. Alors, attendez, hop. Voilà. Et donc, nous sommes... Rappelez-vous... Nous étions dans une torpille.
Strange as this new world was, I knew Toll must have come this way, and it was my task to find him. And it happened like this.
Donc voilà, donc nous sommes
The
ici.
sun beat down on me relentlessly. The heat was unbearable. I was exhausted. Yet I could not stop. I had to go on. For 7 weeks I trudged across the desert. On the second day...
Please, comrade, if we may. I think we can skip the details, unless you consider them to be particularly relevant to the location of Little Orpheus.
Of course, General. We will simply omit the tale of the Singing Chasm, the Oasis of Mirrors, the sightings of Toll's Mienk aloft on their pterodactyls carrying parts of my crashed rocket drill over the horizon to Lemuria.
Wait, the what?
Singing Chasm?
Not that, but the rocket drill.
Oh yes, General, the rocket drill. But what did Toll want with it? And why Lemuria?
Lemuria?
Lemuria, General.
I am not familiar with this Lemuria, comrade.
Well, that is because it does not exist, General. Or at least, so I thought.
Donc voilà, donc comme vous le voyez, avec l'ombre qui se profile sur l'écran, sur l'image, il passe plusieurs jours, semaines, au niveau du temps. Vous voyez, hein, même au niveau du personnage, regardez l'ombre qui défile. Et donc, eh bien, on voit que le temps file à une vitesse folle. Il a l'air d'avoir du mal, hein, quand même. Hein. Que c'est magnifique.
Strange crystals seem to exert an extraordinary hold over the stone blocks and arches. When they hummed, the whole city remade itself. Where they were missing, clearly looted by some villainous thief, the city was fallen to ruin. It was like a vast musical instrument, vandalized, and yet still attempting to toot.
On se croirait presque, dans Elden Ring, quand même.
Poetic. I'm sure our engineers would be fascinated and baffled in equal measure. If the whole department hadn't been arrested for sedition last week, I would happily convey it to their skeptical ears.
Sedition, General? Really?
How
Désolé.
poetic. I'm sure our engineers would be fascinated and baffled in equal measure. If the whole department hadn't been arrested for sedition last week, I would happily convey it to their skeptical ears.
Sedition, General? Really? It's unfortunate news indeed.
I am joking, comrade.
Voilà le fameux ptérodactyle. Alors je sais pas si c'est une bonne chose, hein. Ah. Il y a peut-être une possibilité de le laisser m'emmener. Il y a peut-être un moyen de faire quelque chose, je ne sais pas. D'accord, j'ai compris. Ça va être tu me vois pas. D'accord, bien joué. Ah, ça marche plus. Faut que j'aille le réactiver. Faut que j'aille le réactiver. Alors ça par contre...
The Mank were here, all right. Which meant whatever dastardly scheme Toll had, it was to be enacted on these burning sands.
And you will explain this in due course, I imagine.
Imminently, General. What you need to know first is this. I have told you already how parts of the devices the enslaved Mienk were forced to wear came from the surface.
Radio parts and so on, yes, from what you have told me. Assuming there were plenty of lost ships in the ocean as you claim, for Toll to have dredged up what he needed to assemble them.
Aha, good. You are one step ahead of me, General.
I said assuming.
Of course, assuming. Now, as I gazed in awe at the buildings rising and falling around me, I realized that the other major component of those mind-controlling helmets was crystal. Toll had raided Lemuria for them. He knew the city. He knew the crystals could amplify vibrations and waves, and was using them to boost the signal of the radio parts to exert his control over the Memph. Which meant...
Eh ben... Tu sais que ça t'écraserait comme ça, hein? Comme une crêpe.
Yes, imagine, General, what such amplification could achieve when fused to the finest atomic science our great Soviet civilization has produced.
Non, c'était pas là qu'il fallait... Alors, attendez, parce que je suis pas mort apparemment. Ah bah il a... Bon alors...
Wait! I do not understand. You said Toll was planning on using the bomb to shatter the Earth's crust to return to the surface.
A tragic mistake, General.
On peut pas avancer par là. Bon, comme ça
You
c'est
mean
clair.
to imply Toll would have attempted to enslave the Russian people? Bah! The will of the Soviet citizen is mighty and strong.
To you, perhaps, as a trained warrior. But consider, perhaps instead, a humble son of a toy maker from Tomsk.
Ah, yes. Perhaps we have our share of simpletons, after all.
Oula. Il tourne la tête ou... Ouais, hop, c'est bon. Allez, allez, avance, avance. Ah bah oui, bah bien sûr. T'arrêtes pas, allez. Ah ouais, mais là, pour sauter, c'est compliqué parce qu'il veut rien agripper. C'est... ouais. Waouh!
The vast pictograms told of a history of wonders. They seem to suggest the Lemurians were travelers from another world, where a mysterious clock seemed to stand.
That is very mysterious. As mysterious as the location of little Orpheus, perhaps.
Ah, yes, of course, General. I am just getting to that.
C'est magnifique, hein? Ouais, faut que je recommence, quoi. D'accord. Ah ouais, mais non, mais là, c'est... C'est un petit peu... Un petit peu quand même mal fichu, leur truc. Ah, mais non! Il y a le moindre obstacle et il veut plus monter sur quoi que ce soit. Donc, ouais, d'accord, bon, bien. Bravo, félicitations.
As I bravely explored that ancient city, a question was gnawing at my mind. What did it mean that the Lemurians had foreseen the coming of Tol? And who was the man from above that was celebrated as the savior of the Menkf? It was almost as if they could read the future in their crystals.
Impressionnant, hein?
The bells of Lemuria tolled and tolled, a roaring symphony, a crescendo of peals that set the city dancing, each note causing the crystals to shimmer and cascade with light. But the sandstorm was no natural phenomenon, and the bells did not ring for celebration. Something was very wrong here.
Aside from the pterodactyls and the nymph and the dancing stones and the ancient magical prophecies, and the crystals and now the giant bells, you mean?
If you don't want me to continue, General, I can easily just quietly go home.
Don't think Chepucha will get you out of this one, comrade.
Zut! Ah, je me suis trompé. Il vous habitue à une touche, et puis ensuite, il change la touche, et donc forcément... Ouh là là. Pourquoi je le sens moyen? Ah, voilà pourquoi je le sens moyen. Voilà, hop. Et alors là, voilà, va falloir partir. Allez, accélère, Joe la frite. Ben non. Allez, cours. Non, toujours pas. Quand je vous disais que je le sentais moyen. Quand est-ce que... Là, ça touche... Ouais. En fait, ça touche sur les boss, en fait. Regardez bien, vous allez voir. Normalement, c'est là. Hop! Vous avez vu? Ah! Le vieux n'est pas si bête que ça. Donc, s'il arrive sur la boss, regardez bien. Ah oui, mais non, mais il faut pas qu'il... Alors, par contre, ça, c'est dégueulasse, parce que... Il avance pas, là. Il se bloque tout seul. C'est pas normal. Voilà, donc, c'est-à-dire que... Voilà, on est sur la boss, et regardez bien sur la boss, il se passe rien. Hop. Allez, ce coup-ci, tu t'arrêtes pas. Hein. Bah ouais, mais non, mais pourquoi il s'arrête? Attendez, faut qu'on m'explique. Pourquoi il s'arrête et qu'il se met à genoux, là? C'est quoi l'idée? Allez, en avant. Voilà. Et là, vous voyez, il s'est pas arrêté parce que, en fait, il doit y avoir un caillou qui fait un bug et ben, voilà. Hop, voilà. Tagalac, tagalac, tagalac. Et on est arrivé de l'autre côté. C'est juste parce qu'il y a un caillou qui doit faire le bug et voilà.
I was like the Brinya Nikich, prepared to strike at the dragon who threatened my homeland.
Your heroism is only surpassed by your modesty.
Décidément.
I raced through those magical structures, a righteous fire in my heart. I was like the Brinya Nikich, prepared to strike at the dragon who threatened my homeland.
Your heroism is only surpassed by your modesty.
On the contrary, General, I chose the Brinya carefully. Like him, I am a simple peasant. It was fate that chose me to descend to the Earth's core.
It was General Komanyin who chose you to descend to the Earth's core. But don't let that get in the way of your story.
Well then, award General Polkovnik Kamanin the highest medal in the world.
He already has several of those.
I cannot take credit for his wisdom in sending me.
Ben... Un véritable nid de ptérodactyle, là. Mais alors, bah pourquoi? Mais alors, vous voyez, là c'est pas moi, je suis arrivé pile où il fallait, mais encore une fois, un petit bug et voilà, vous êtes coincé. C'est dommage parce que le jeu est bon, mais un petit bug et voilà, ça vous...
What was once a rocket drill ship, built to burrow into the Earth, was now a mighty vessel, repurposed to blast off into the skies.
Non. C'est nul. Oh là là, allez, on recommence. Non, c'est lui qui va monter là.
There was no doubt the Toll was headed for the strange world with its clock, although to what end I was yet to understand. But there was no time to consider, no time for questions. Toll was on the rocket. Little Orpheus was on the rocket. And wherever they were headed, I must head there too, to thwart his plans, recover my drill, and save the world!
Will our enthusiastic yet disorientated hero be burnt to a cinder by the rocket's engines? Will he be smashed into the rock that surely must be beyond the Lemurian skies? Does Nikolai Petrovich Kamenyan really need any more medals? What was the strange clock, and what could it all mean? All of these questions, and more, will be answered, if you're extremely lucky, in the next exciting episode of Little Orpheus.
Et voilà pour ce 6e épisode. Donc, vous avez vu, hein, le 6e épisode nous commence à nous ramener sur la croûte terrestre. On verra bien pour ce qu'il en est au prochain épisode. Moi, je vous laisse là et je vous dis, écoutez, à plus, à la prochaine. Et n'hésitez pas à laisser un like ou un commentaire si la vidéo vous a plu. Je vous dis à plus.